Hello guys, how are you doing? And welcome to my channel. So this is going to be the Q&A video I've been talking about. I probably posted something about it a couple days ago via YouTube. I've been advertising it on Instagram for about a week now, and then I put it on Facebook as well. And so I had a bunch of submissions. I got a little bit of everything, and so we're just going to dive into it. Okay, so the first question is going to be, what advice would you give to a homeschooled teenager trying to become a song artist? By song artist, I'm assuming you mean musician. And my advice to you is, seeing as I was homeschooled my entire life, it was creative in the way where it just allowed me to have a lot of free time. So I feel like it depends on kind of the way you're being homeschooled. I feel like naturally homeschoolers have more free time. Like if you go to public school, you're guaranteed to have like 8 hours of school, 7 hours of school, or whatever it is, and then you have homework. Where like when you're homeschooled, it's a lot more flexible. So when I was being homeschooled, like I'd be in the kitchen baking and whatever and inventing things, and she put that down as like food science. Or like when I went and tracked my first record when I was like 15, we counted that as like all kinds of credits. So by the end of high school, all of your credits are just things you love. So if I were gonna go to college, then I would have had like a really nice list of shit, a lot of really good credentials, and that helped me get jobs that I wanted to. I would say that it depends on the kind of homeschooling you do, but I would use your free time to your advantage. Act as your own teacher, your own tutor, your own PR agent, all of that stuff, and then just really use it to your advantage, because alone time is a really good thing to have as a musician, I feel like, because that's time where you really get to create. So I would just take advantage of it if I were you. This person asks, given that Fossils has a similarly dark tone to Bury a Friend by Billie Eilish, will you be making a music video for it, and will it be anywhere nearly as dark as what Miss Eilish did for hers? Yes, Fossils has a video coming out. The idea that we had for Fossils was, it was what I call my fire song, and it's a very like angsty, outspoken song, which I don't have a lot of those, even though that's a part of me, so I was really excited to be able to express that in Fossils. And the video is not going to be as dark as Billie Eilish's, I don't think, just because you don't really see much darkness in the music video, from what I can tell. We're not finished with the editing part of it, and that's when all that stuff's really going to happen, so maybe it'll be darker. I don't know. It's going to be kind of a surprise for me too, because I'm just kind of handing it to my editor and we're going to see what happens. It's more of like a suggested darkness in the video and like symbolic. You don't really get like the actual like possession, which I feel like Billie Eilish is very literal with her things, so probably not quite as dark, but I actually don't know since we haven't finished the video. But there will be a video coming out, hopefully in the next month or so. What is your favorite song that you've released? Mine's Bleachless. I really like The End of a Good Thing, because it kind of feels like a movie to me. It feels like very cinematic and uplifting at the same time. Note to Self was like, I know it wasn't a popular song, but because of what I was going through when I wrote it, it's the most like transparent thing I feel like I've ever told anybody, so definitely Note to Self. If music doesn't work out, what do you want to do? That's a very interesting question, because I ask myself that quite often. In some ways, music's already working out. Like I have so many friends who say that they just want to quit their day jobs. It's been a solid year, like living like a pretty comfortable lifestyle and making the majority of my money with music sales. I would say in that aspect, I've made it. If it doesn't work out though, like if for some reason music is just not doing it for me, I would love to make money with traveling. I feel like an equal amount of inspiration and gratitude from, maybe even more gratitude from traveling. Those are just two things that I don't feel like are ever gonna go away. And if I could travel, I can get paid to travel, like just me and my drone in the Sahara Desert, like I would so do that. That sounds like so much fun. Do you like being indie, or would you ever go mainstream? I think that independent artists have a lot more going for them than they used to. So having Cameron move in with me, him being kind of like an A&R for a label for a while and working with Rise Records and stuff, and then him being like the producer he is kind of like reinforced my views on this. Labels are just kind of like a big loan, kind of a big bank, and if you don't have like a following and you're not a visionary, then there's no point in getting signed. Like, you're just gonna get shelved. So I feel like if you have those things and you have like assets, and you know people, you don't really need to be signed. Then again, it depends on the deal. So at this point, I would totally go mainstream because I like all music. If someone just told me like they wanted me to be the next Katy Perry, I would be happy doing anything, because I'm always gonna be doing this indie shit regardless, because that's just like journaling to me. So yeah, I would totally go mainstream, but I'm kind of just riding each wave as they come, so we'll see. What is your advice for someone who is looking for a band but can't find anyone who is committed? I don't have any advice for you, seeing as I never found my band. I would say stop looking. It depends on your role in the band. You know, like if you're a drummer, you can't really just be a solo drummer. You know, you can always be a hired drummer or like a tour drummer or a studio guitarist. And then at some point, you know, with your solo things, you'll gain enough exposure as a solo artist to find a band. Or I would just go join someone else's band. I feel like that would work too. But that's my knowledge on bands because I don't have one, so maybe you don't listen to me. Whatever happened to Finland? Are you two still friends? Yes. So Finland was just kind of like a little blurb in the universe. It was super short-lived. We released, I think, one song and then a couple covers. It was like 15 when we started Finland, and he was in Virginia and I was in Georgia. And so not only were we really far apart, but Galen was also, he was a photographer. Now he's in Brooklyn and he produces there, so yeah, we're still friends, but Finland just kind of fizzled out. It was just kind of like a fun little thing that we did, and it was that. So this person asks, are you going to continue covers or are you going to focus on career? I would say that at this point, covers are kind of part of my career, not in a revenue making kind of way, because you don't really make much revenue with YouTube. But I will say that since the majority of my following is on YouTube, and I want to make you all happy and keep you all coming back for more stuff, I'll keep posting covers just because that really helps keep the ball rolling, keeps you guys happy, and it's not hard to do. So, because like when I record covers, I don't practice a song ever, just kind of figure it out. And every time I record a cover, I'm reading the lyrics off the screen. So it's a pretty like effortless thing. So I'll probably be doing that for a long time, I would imagine. What is an original song that isn't on an album or EP that is your favorite? It's a very good question because I have a very large library of unreleased music. But I would say right now it's a song called La 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 Long Suffering. It was inspired by the movie Arrival, so it's like very cinematic, and Cameron was producing it, was like crying while he was producing it, and it features Alan Watts, which is this British philosopher that I listen to all the time, and it features him in the song, and it was just really good, really, really, really beautiful song. Very sad, so I feel like you guys are gonna like it. When did you start playing instruments? But my first instrument was banjo, and I want to say I was 9. I might have been younger than that, I might have been like 8. What inspired you to pursue music, and how did you overcome your struggles? I don't remember a specific time, it just kind of was never really a question, I just wanted to do it. Like the first struggle I remember was my parents not being on board with it, and me being like an angsty, angry 13-year-old and fighting with them about it. And then there were other struggles, like, you know, when I kind of made a conscious decision to stop looking for a band. When I kind of had the realization that I probably wasn't going to be doing that, and I was going to kind of have to push as a solo artist, like self-titled. That was interesting, not because like I hate being a solo artist, that was kind of like a childhood dream, and I was like letting go of my childhood dream. So that was something. And then you also go through phases of just feeling like stuck. And I honestly feel like you just gotta keep pushing through, because any of those times that I just named, I rarely feel like they're impactful anymore. You know, and whatever the struggle that you're going through now with music or life or whatever it is the same. So just keep pushing on, because it's not gonna be what it is now, you know, a year from now. So that's kind of just how I try to view a lot of things. So what are your goals for 2019? I wanted to film a really epic 2019 highlights video, because I wanted to travel a bunch this year. Like I wanted to go abroad a bunch this year. Unfortunately, we're halfway through the year now. Insanity, but we are. And I haven't really gotten to do much traveling. Like Cam and I are planning on doing a really big trip this summer. And then my family, like my dad and I, and then maybe the rest of our family are going to Ireland later. And other than that, I wanted to really focus on self-care. And I feel like I've already achieved that, because I really recently posted my come back with bulimia, because I've been bulimic for 3 years, and I'm whatever happened the last couple of weeks, I feel like I'm just completely disassociated with that, and I feel like a normal person. And so as far as self-care goes, I feel like I've really conquered that one. But we got 6 or 7 months left in the year to do the other one, so we'll see. This person asks, how many ex-boyfriends do you have? And I have one, because I didn't date in high school. I'd never been on a date before until my first boyfriend. And I met him in LA, and I was 19, and we dated off and on for 2 years. Yeah, he's my only ex-boyfriend, and I don't even really call him that because we still talk, and like Cameron and him talk, and we're all on good terms. Yeah, we still talk. He's in Seattle. I was actually gonna hang out with him this last week, but I didn't get to go to Seattle, so yeah, just one ex-boyfriend. That's it. Do animals have souls? That's a great question. That's very philosophical of you. I think about that a lot, especially when I contemplate being vegan. Like, that could be a conversation. I could make a video on whether animals have souls or not, like just by itself, and it would be 20 minutes long. I don't know if animals have souls, because I definitely think that people have souls. I don't know. It depends on reincarnation and shit, and I'm kind of believe in reincarnation. I feel like it's kind of questionable, so I don't know. I wish I could answer that question. I hope so, because I want to see my dog one day. Do you ever think about getting rid of your dreads? I love them, but just wondering. No, not willingly. I've had them since I was 15 years old. No, I feel like I really just dress in comfy PacSun braless outfits all the time, and giant flannels, so I feel like if I didn't have dreadlocks, I would look like a very plain person. So I want to hold on to them for as long as I can. Oh, and another dreadlock question was if they are natural or if somebody did them. When I first got dreadlocks, I was 15, and my hair was so fine, because I have very fine, shiny hair naturally. It was so fine that they wouldn't dread up, so I did have someone initially do it. But since then, I haven't maintained them. They just kind of lock up naturally on their own, so I guess half and half. I don't know. Does that make me a poser? I don't know. But I love them. How old are you? I'm 21. I'll be 22 in December. When did you start photography? I really dove into photography when I took the Wormwood promos, because I was in Austin, Texas, took some portraits and realized that I loved it, and I really love the editing process, but I think it was probably last summer that I really dove into it. What do your tattoos mean? That's a fun one. I think I have 8 tattoos altogether, but this one is in Hebrew, and it means to be created. It's the closest thing they had to arise, so that's what I got. It's a flyleaf tattoo. It's my first tattoo. This one is a Little Prince quote. It's all about the value of a person being because you spend time with them. If I never spent time with Cameron, he would just be a person to me, but because I spent so much time with him, he's so valuable to me. That's what that quote's about. I have grilled cheese on the back of my arm. That is an inside joke with my childhood best friend. She has the other half, and when we stand together, it looks like it's being pulled apart. I have a band that goes around my arm that has the dates for Mother's Day, 2015, because I went out to LA when I was 17 for management opportunities, and we spent Mother's Day there together, and it was really cool. So we got that tattoo. I have the Family Force 5 Dance or Die symbol on my leg, and that's another matching tattoo with my best friend because we were obsessed with them as kids. I have what is supposed to be a lizard tattoo on my leg, but most people just think it's sperm, or the Batman symbol. And that was done on a tour. The bassist we got a needle from Walmart and some Indian ink, and we just kind of went at it. I have a constellation, I don't know which side it is, but my constellation's on my neck, which is Sagittarius. I think that's it. What do you do to stay strong when things get hard? It's a very good question, because I feel like recently in the last year, I feel like in the last year I've kind of struggled with some depression, and I was never familiar with that. I didn't really have much experience with that. I still don't really know where it came from or what it is. I think it's very chemical. I think a lot of it's attributed, I think the weather contributes to it a lot, and I think that also my because I was bulimic for so long. I think those things like really caught up with me, and you just gotta keep powering through. I really feel like the most success I've had in life has come from going into things blindly. So not weighing things out, not overanalyzing anything. I always go somewhere new. Like, and this doesn't mean for like a long time, but I mean like it can be instantly. I can just drive 6 hours, or I can go fly somewhere for a while, but do something really new that I've never done before with someone I've never met before, ideally, or sometimes not. Because I feel like when you're at the same place for long enough, you get really trapped in your headspace and your thought process and in your routines, in your doubts and your stresses and like whatever energy is in that place with you. And so for me, it's not running away, it's refreshing, it's like a reset, and then I can kind of come back with that perspective that I grabbed from wherever I was. And normally it has to do with gratitude. So I would say I go somewhere else. Otherwise, I would just keep powering through and going through things blindly, because I feel like the moment you really think about something, it's gonna happen or it's not gonna happen. You know, you're either gonna be ready for it or you're not gonna be ready for it. And there's no alternative, because like life happens whether you're ready for it or not. So you just kind of have to, you know, just power through it. I really have no answers for life at this point in life, because I don't know why anything happens. How do you overcome mental barriers like anxiety and self-doubt? I'm not an anxious person. However, self-doubt, that's a bit more close to home, I feel like, because I don't even feel like I realize it's doubting. I kind of, for the most part, I have to remember why I started the things I started. Or even with YouTube, like I was just talking to Cam about this, like I get so many good comments and I've taken them all for granted at this point, because I've had them for 10 years now. And I look at them now and they're not nearly as impactful, but the bad comments are. You know, a lot of it I think just has to do with taking things for granted and like shifting perspective. And remember that there is always somebody who wishes they had what you had, or were the way you were, or looked the way you looked. I don't know, we all have things we struggle with, and I feel like, you know, some of these things are just gonna keep naturally happening, but, you know, remember that it doesn't end with self-doubt. Just because you're doubting yourself one day doesn't mean you're always gonna doubt yourself. How to be free-spirited and independent? That's a loaded question. I'm still figuring that out, because I feel like there are so many more people in the world that are like more free-spirited and independent than I am. Talk about going into things blindly so much, but I really feel like that's such a huge key to like where I find happiness and contentment, and I feel like that sort of thing and travel just go hand in hand. And I know that sounds like insane because I keep talking about it, but I think that's why it's important. Anything bad that could happen. Anything good that could happen. And there's no point thinking about all those things when they're always going to remain a possibility, regardless of whether you take action on something or not. So just think about that every time you make a decision, you know, or don't, because that's the whole point. Is there anything special to you that's nostalgic? Yeah, like everything. Like Cameron when he's home, Cameron when he's gone, my dog that I used to have, my cats that I have now. I have a whole box of just sentimental shit that's like, some of it's just trash. A cup warmer from my ex-boyfriend from an IHOP, fan-made shoes, I have Polaroid photos, I have a crushed up water bottle from a friend in West Virginia, I have a rape whistle that my friend in West Virginia gave me, all of my tattoos, literally every song I've ever written in my entire life. I would say that I am such a crier, and like, not that I'm easily sad, but I'm easily like overwhelmed with emotion. And so yeah, I'd say everything's nostalgic, and that's literally the only thing I write about. Like, it's just the past and memories. So everything. What's your favorite cereal? Cinnamon Toast Crunch, hands down, always. Do you have a boyfriend? Yes, that would be Cameron. Yes, we've been together for I think a year now. Any advice for bulimia relapse? I cannot give you advice on bulimia relapse because I never relapsed, because I just found the strength to actually stop. I will say that like with my experience in my image issues and things that I've dealt with, like immediately after quitting whatever it was, I'm like it was so easy, like why did I never do that? And then next time I dive into it, I assume that it's gonna be easy again, and honestly, just remembering that knowledge that I've gained from that has been enough to like keep me from doing things in the past. But I really cannot give you a whole lot of advice on relapsing, unfortunately, because like I said, I just now quit for the first time. So good luck, and I'm really sorry. I wish I could help you. My friend Zeke asks, Vegemite, yay or nay? I've never had Vegemite, Zeke. We should add that to our list right next to all of the other things that we have on our list that we haven't ever done. How often, if at all, do you go through creative droughts, and how do you handle them? I feel like when you're talking about creative droughts, you're probably referring to like the writing process, I would assume. And when I get writer's block, like I'll just work on something else, because I feel like there's always more things to work on when it comes to that stuff. And you don't always have to be making music either. I also have a pretty big stacked library of music, so I don't feel the pressure to write all the time. But plus, like, I kind of do that as an expression. I don't feel like I never run out of feelings, so I never get writer's block, because that's all I write about. So, but I do remember, like, there have been times when I have gone through creative droughts and just didn't feel like writing. And I think in that sort of scenario, I just tried to, you know, make some banners for a while, or like maybe work on my merch store or something like that, because for me writing is a very personal thing, so I don't easily get writer's block unless I was just completely numb to the world for some reason. So yeah, I think I've only gotten writer's block a couple times in my entire life. Anyway, I think that's gonna conclude my Q&A. That was very quick, actually. Actually, it was not. It's been half an hour. Fuck me. That's gonna do it for the Q&A. Thank you guys for submitting your questions. It's been awesome. Now I'm gonna go edit this the rest of the day, and then I'm gonna post it for you. And I will see you on the next video.